Hello everybody, this is Kevin and welcome to my next presentation for our class. Today I'm going to talk about or give you an overview of the writing process, purpose, audience, and pre-writing strategies. If you look here, number 1, it talks about the 5 steps to college writing or the writing process. How do we go about writing? What are the steps? If you've noticed, I have a column here in black and then I have a column here in blue. The column in black is what I normally call the steps of the process, and then in blue is what the book refers to them as. If I use the terms interchangeably, just know that they mean the same thing. So I call it pre-writing, your book will call it invention. We're forming our ideas. Planning and arranging, we're taking those ideas and starting to put them into some kind of order. And drafting, we're going to start doing our writing. Revising, maybe we're going to change things, move this, move that. And then editing and proofreading, maybe we need to change some grammar points, or maybe we've missed some commas, maybe we have a fragment, things that we will discuss in a later presentation. If you notice, out of the 5 steps of the process, I have pre-writing or invention highlighted in yellow because that's what this presentation is going to mainly concentrate on. But first, before we start the writing process, let's look at number 2. Understand the assignment and what is its purpose. I know that I have when I was getting my degrees in college, and you may have had teachers give you essay assignments or writing prompts, and you're like, ooh, what does the teacher want me to do here? Well, maybe the teacher wants you to write a summarizing essay, defining, analyzing, persuading. Maybe they want you to just write a research paper. And one of the most difficult, I think, is synthesizing. Maybe they want you to take different writings or readings and then put them together. To me, that's a little more difficult, and we will be doing that toward the end of the semester. But let's look back here at argumentation and research. You will do both of those in my class. They're very similar, however, they aren't. Let me tell you the difference. The research paper, you're going to gather all of your information on a certain topic, let's say immigration. But you're only going to be objective. You're going to gather the information and say, this is what the research states. You're not going to give personal opinions. You're not trying to persuade me to your viewpoint. However, up here at argumentation or persuading, you are going to be subjective. You do have a point of view that you want me to believe in. Therefore, you'll gather your information and then you'll present it as you're trying to persuade me. Let's take a look at the box. These are some of the types of writing that we're going to do in this class this semester. We're going to do exemplification, a compare and contrast. We'll do a research paper, an argumentative, and then in my online class you'll be doing discussion board postings. So, if you look at the questions, what kinds of writings are we going to do? Those 5. And then what would the purpose of the following be? What I'd like you to do is think about a compare and contrast paper. Which one of these would be our purpose for the compare and contrast paper? So think about that and formulate your ideas. We'll discuss that later. Okay, next, which goes along with the purpose, is the acronym PIE. P-I-E, PIE. I like acronyms. It helps me learn and to remember things better, and I hope it helps you as well. P stands for to persuade, which we would do in a persuasive or an argumentative essay. To inform would be a research paper. We're just giving you the information. We don't have an opinion about it. And then to entertain. Maybe we're writing a funny narrative story and we just simply want to entertain or to let people have a good time as they read our story. Or at times, sometimes you're going to combine. Maybe you're trying to inform and to persuade. To inform and to persuade at the same time in the same paper, and that does happen a lot. Think about a commercial. Commercials are entertaining, they want to keep our attention, but they're also trying to persuade us on buying their product. And how do they persuade us? They inform or give us prices or how good their product is versus another product. Okay. The next point I want to talk about is audience. When you're writing a paper, for me, I am your audience. However, you should know who the readers are going to be, how much they're going to know about the topic, If you're writing a paper for students who live in the Imperial Valley and your paper is going to be about Mexican culture, the chances that everyone has a lot of background knowledge on Mexican culture is going to be very good. Therefore, maybe in the beginning of your paper, you would not have to give so much background information. However, if we were writing this paper, let's say in the middle of Mississippi or another state, maybe Kentucky, if you were writing that same paper about Mexican culture, you may have to add a lot more background knowledge because maybe many people in in Mississippi and Kentucky don't have the background on Mexican culture that we do here because we live in this area. The next thing you want to do is, what do you want them to learn? What are you going to tell them? And then the last part here and under audience is, what is the tone or level of formality? When you're writing papers for me, please keep them very formal. If you look at this text message, I just did this for fun. Yo, teach, how are you? I hope you're doing KK. Okay. And then here, please don't do that. I've had students in the past who would email me and say, teacher, how are you? Excuse me. I'm very laid back, but when you're writing emails to me, please be formal. You should be writing in a formal manner. This paper is going to talk about kids in other countries. This is just an idea of someone starting a paper, about the alternate text there. This paper is going to talk about kids in other countries. To me, that's very informal. I think the word kids should be changed to children, but we'll talk about word choice later in a different presentation. And here I just gave you the equivalent of what they should be. Are you, your. A lot of people make the mistake with your. It should be you are, the contraction. You are happy. You are nice. And, down here, if you've noticed my little mistake, please you correct tone. It should be please use correct tone. So sometimes your spell checkers can actually do you more harm than good. And I know as part of the writing process I need to edit because I type. My brain goes faster than I type and sometimes I miss words. You guys will notice if I email you I'll be missing words because I type too quickly. Alrighty. Okay, the next point is types of pre-writing. Before we get into the pre-writing, why do we pre-write? This is the time when you have no pressure. You can create your ideas. Think about them. Be relaxed when you do it. You want to take a broad topic and make it narrow, something manageable to write about. And then you want to also ask yourself, what am I going to say about this topic? Doing pre-writing strategies will help you take a broad topic, narrow it down, and help you understand what you want to write about that topic. There are many pre-writing strategies, but I'm going to talk about 6 of them. Discussion, note-taking, free write or free writing, clustering, brainstorm, and journalist questions. Journalist questions like who, what, when, where, why, and how. Okay, the first one, let's take a look at discussion. Maybe you want to talk to other people to get their ideas. In my class, in class or face-to-face classes, we can talk to our group members right in classroom. Well, what do you think? Well, what do you think about this topic? What do you know about this topic? You can ask them. Now online, you'll do the same thing, but you'll be doing it through Google Docs. Google Docs, as you know, in another presentation we talked about, it's where you can work together online with your peers, and you can also have an instant message chat at the same time. Next is note-taking. Note-taking is very important. Any reading you do in my class, you should writing notes and keep them because you may use those notes in the writings. So instead of having to reread or to skim through or scan through your prior readings, you have your note cards and you can use those to help you with the test and your essays. Note-taking also, if I don't know a lot about a topic, I do research first. I'll read magazines, I'll look on the internet, and as I'm doing that, I write down information. Or if I find an article that I really like, I will maybe write a postcard, a card like this. A card like this, maybe write the subject, who wrote it, where I found it. I also print off articles and keep them. Okay. So note-taking is very, very good. It's a good way to gather your information, especially if you don't know a lot about the topic. Next is free writing. I don't do a lot of free writing. It's not my style, but if you like it, it's just where you sit down, take 10 minutes, be at your computer or use a pen and pencil and paper, think of a topic and just write. Don't stop. Take a look here. If you can't think of something to say, just write about it. Just write about anything. Repeat yourself if you have to. The point is eventually more ideas will come as you keep writing. Be relaxed. Don't worry about grammar. Don't worry about punctuation. Okay, next, number 4 is clustering. Clustering is my favorite, and clustering is also called branching or mapping. It's a visual way. Look at the example. Here we have the writing process, and then you branch off into the other ideas. This way you're starting to take broad ideas, seeing them visually and how they all connect. I'm a very visual learner, therefore I cluster a lot. Oh, excuse me. And then eventually your cluster can become an informal outline. Because if you take a look at pre-writing here, and what forms of pre-writing? Pre-writing could be our topic sentence, and then we could use free writing, clustering, and outlining as maybe some minor details or examples. So that's a good way also to start forming an informal outline. Number 5 is brainstorm. Here's an example of a brainstorm. Brainstorm is also called list or listing. It's where you list all of your ideas into groups. It might not start off as groups. You may just start listing things on a piece of paper, and then after you look at it you realize, oh, I'm starting to see a pattern. I'm starting to see how these things fit into categories. Last, number 6 is journalist questions. Again, who, what, when, where, why, and how. And if you look at these questions, what is my purpose? What is my topic similar and different to? That would be good for a compare and contrast. Obviously, what causes it? What are the effects? That would be good for writing an essay on cause and effect. Why is the topic important? Who does it affect? Who is my audience? Again, you want to write for your audience. Will they have a lot of background information, or do you have to give them more information in the beginning of your paper? And the last point here, you can read all through all of them, but the last one is not all questions will be needed. It depends on the type of writing. In conclusion, or in summary, just remember writing is a process. We all write in different ways. However, if you're not familiar with writing, maybe having a process or a step-by-step map to follow will help you write better. Again, we all write differently. We all have our different ways or pre-strategies that we like. And make sure you understand these concepts. Number 2, make sure you understand the concepts because you will be quizzed on them. And this is the recorded version, but if you want to copy or have a hard copy of this, download it and print it from Blackboard. As you can see, I also have a works cited. We will talk about this later on in the semester. A works cited is where did I get the information. Most of it came from my head because I've been teaching for so long, but however, some examples or other points I use came from Prentice Hall, our textbook, and then I borrowed this from SlideShare, which is a PowerPoint where teachers share PowerPoint slides with each other. So here's my works cited. So I used 3 different sources in order to prepare this presentation for you. Okay, if you have any questions, please call me on my Google Voice or give me an email or send me an email. Thanks everybody. Bye.